There's just one place to enjoy your Acura Summer of Performance event, Acura of Pembroke Pines. So hit the road in the new ADX, $289 a month. Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Set the rhythm of your smart home with Sloman Shield Blink, the new integrated smart home platform that automates your life just the way you want it. Sloman Shield Blink, be the maestro of your own home.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Hi, this is Jeff, formerly of Welton Rayone, PA, a longtime sponsor of the Big O Show. Now that Dan retired, I opened Welton Associates. I started this firm with a simple belief. When you hire a lawyer, you should be able to talk to your lawyer. For nearly 30 years, I have helped Floridians through serious legal problems. At my firm, you get direct access to me, clear communication, and a lawyer who knows the details of your case. I believe technology should make legal representation easier, not more impersonal. At Welton Associates, you get direct access to me, clear answers, personal attention, and real advocacy. Look us up at weltlawfirm.com or give me a call at 954-966-4646. Consultations are always free. And let me know that you found me at the Big O Show.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome aboard. Time to rock and roll. Yes, it's a Tuesday, July 28th. Veterans are reporting for the Dolphins 2026. Speaking of those Dolphins, day number 19,189 since they were world champions. For the Canes, day number 8,972 since they were national champions. And for the Heat, day number 4,785 since they were champions, world champions, that is. By the way, somebody sent me a, because he goes, well, why don't you put like Inter Miami? And then he tried to hold the Marlins thing, but I told him, they don't really exist. But I told him the Inter doesn't count because they won it last year. I'm not going to start. You have to have 10 years off of not winning a title. 10 years plus. Once you've crossed a decade, then we got to start wondering, hey, what's going on, And so there you go. You know what I'm saying? And I know the Marlins, it's over 20 years, but the point is they're not trying to win. So, the Heat are trying to win. Canes football's trying to win. Dolphins are trying to win. They may be incompetent, but they try. They spend a lot of money. They change coaches and GMs, and they pay them all. And so they're trying, you know what I mean? They're constantly trying. So if you're trying, you're on the board. We got to give you, but if you're not trying, that whole relationship where they want you to be a fan, they want you to commit to the team, but they don't commit to winning. What the hell is that? That doesn't go. Anyway, so don't forget, hit the like button, folks. You can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Speaking of Bitcoin, we got a nice little dip. We're at 63,176. I think we're farting around a little bit too because that whole clarity bill and all, which is not going to pass. It's just not going to pass. Not in this environment, not with the guy that's leading the way. So, it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the way it is. What can I tell you? Anyway, just saw something here. I'm saving to my phone. Anyway, just overall, that's down. As for the markets right now, the Dow is up 381 points. Still don't know why, but it is. The S&P is down 10 points, and the NASDAQ is up about 1.5 points. SpaceX, that knife is falling. We are now at 108. Now, it almost every day it's an all-time low, all-time low, all-time low. And so, but I'm still not moving. We're going under 100. Then I start to assess where we're at that point. But we're going under 100. Now, I'll wait for that, overall. Anyway, so good stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about on the show. Appreciate all of you out there for tuning in whenever you do tune in, because, obviously it's not always live. It's on demand, and we appreciate it day, night, overnights, weekends, whenever it is you're tuning in, holidays. Whenever you take the time, we appreciate you in taking the time overall. All right, let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. And we start off, of course, with Inter Miami. Saturday, they will take on Columbus at 7:30. And by the way, right now, I saw a guy by the name of Scotty Grays. He covers Inter Miami. I got to give him credit because he took the time to write the list. I would not have. But on Saturday, they probably will be missing Falcon, Gonzalo Lujan, Allende, David Ayala, Bertarami, Alexander Shaw, Santi Morales, Ian Frey, Delasco Segovia, Rodrigo De Paul, Messi, and Yannick Bright. They will have 13 players to field on Saturday. And winning the two last week was huge. So if they can win this one, that would be pretty freaking amazing for Inter Miami. Even though it's not a tough team they're playing, but they're down so many people, it's ridiculous. So we'll see what happens there. Vikings signed safety Jamal Adams, 30-year-old. The terms were not released. And the Miami Dolphins, they signed defensive end Clelin Ferrell, the failed draft pick of the Raiders years ago. After signing Clelin, they end up waiving Khalil Sanders. In 7 years, he has 21 sacks in 98 games. He has started 57 of them. Clelin Ferrell, the newest Miami Dolphin, will be taking the field today with all the other veterans as the veterans report, and we start to get a little football going. We'll get pads probably over the weekend, probably on Sunday. I'm saying that's probably my prediction. Sunday, maybe Monday, you'll have pads on, and then we'll start getting a better feel for the Miami Dolphins. If you're looking for custom printing and embroidery, please reach out to Alan Blanco, 3A Graphics, 786-618-1443. Shirts, uniforms, you name it. You can get it all done there. Reach out to him, like many have already in our 7 years, and we appreciate it at 3A Graphics. Okay. Don't forget, folks, use our code BIG-O10. You will get 10% off online or in person at Caneswear, caneswear.com. All right. What else do we have here? Let's see. Oscar Rojas, good morning to you, sir. He's smashing it. Gus 1388. Clelin Ferrell is one of the youngest defensive end rushers that was available out there. Listen, they need pass rushers. This guy's a bust. Don't expect shit from him. Just don't expect much. It's just the way it is. And he will get sacks if he can also feed off of other people. And there really isn't a lot to feed off of on this team. So he's going to be kind of on his own, because there's not a lot of there's a disease that we all have, and it's the Dolphins' fault. And I sense it in media members. I sense it in fans and all those things. We're all dying to start running when we haven't even crawled yet, to then start the walk on the walls, and then eventually walk on our own, and then eventually we could get to jogging, and we can get to running. These are all the progressions that you do when you're a toddler, right? We want to skip everything and get to running already. How many games can we win? Well, yeah, it's not really about that. Slow down. It's about seeing if they can build a culture, see if they know how to coach, see if they can get players to play well and improve and develop and all those kind of things. First, you got to get to that stage before you even talk about winning. First, you got to figure out, do you have an offensive line? Do you have a defensive line? Can you put pressure on the quarterback? Can you cover wide receivers? Do you know how to call plays? Because the last guy that we had was a great play designer, had a great mind for football in the sense of understanding how to draw some awesome plays, but he didn't know how to use them at the right times. Didn't know exactly how to cook the meal throughout the game. And that's part of being a great coach. These are all things that all this stuff has to be answered first. We don't even know if John Eric Sullivan can draft. We have no idea. We know nothing. So let's slow down. Let's not, expect a lot from Clellan Ferrell, who's been around a bust for years and years and years and hasn't done shit. Leave it. Let it go. Worry about the young guys that you have. Those are the guys you're going to build on, not a 30-year-old journeyman. That's not where your future is. I saw some tweet out there. It was like, if they need to, receivers and they've got to try to win games and this, they should sign this guy. And it's like a 30-year-old receiver. And, I didn't bother answering the guy because I don't even know who he is. It just came up on my timeline. And it's just like, yeah, you don't get what this is all about. Your future isn't a 30-year-old receiver. So why would you sign him? And you're not here to just kill yourself to try to get a victory. No, you're going to coach to win, but you're not really trying to necessarily go all out to do whatever because you think some desperate move with Ferrell or a 30-year-old receiver is actually going to get you a victory. It's really not. And it's not really a big deal right now. And I think people, and it sucks, right? Because I have to then tell you the word that you all hate and I hate, patience. That's the word you hate, patience. Nobody wants to hear that because this is day number 19,189 since they were world champions. So it's a long time ago, and most of you weren't born. Most of you weren't around when they won a championship. It's very few of us that saw them. Very few of us, unfortunately. That's just kind of the way it goes. It's a small portion of us. What can I tell you? It's one of those things that we have to, unfortunately, deal with, and that's the word patience. Even though we don't have it. We do not possess that word patience whatsoever. And I understand the hate for patience because they keep telling you to be patient and you're like saying, patient for what? Nothing happens ever. And I get it. But you got to slow down. Some of you out there, you're so worried about wins and you're so worried about, let's go get this guy. And, I forgot which one of the Dolphins sites comes up on my feed. Do the Dolphins need to make another big move? No, they're not spending money. I get it. You're a Dolphin-centric site. You can only talk Dolphins. You're stuck right there on that island. So I understand what that's like. So you got to come up with some bullshit topic that doesn't exist. But then that feeds you guys. Their idiocy, who I forgot whatever site it was, and I don't give a shit who it is. I'll tell it to them in their face also. Their idiocy of, do we need to make one big move? Well, wait a minute. First of all, they're not making any big moves. They're not spending big money in free agency. They got their quarterback because they were in love with that guy. So they brought him here and then that's it. But they're not spending any money. They're not going out to buy free agents. They just kept a couple of their own. They kept the smart ones. Those 3 that they signed, those are building blocks. Those are smart moves. Those are patient moves. Those are the ones that you build on. We got to slow down, man. We got to slow down. But shit like that is thrown out there by Dolphin-centric sites because they've got nothing else to talk about. That's the thing. Here, I can go talk about the Heat. I can talk about the Panthers. I can talk about the market. I can talk about Bitcoin. I can talk about music. I can talk about whatever the hell I want because I'm not a one subject, platform overall. So for them, they're stuck in that island, and then they feed you that bullshit. And they feed you like, oh, do we need to make one more big move? We've got to come up for it with a topic to do the show tonight. That's what they're doing. And in the process, they're feeding fans lies and bullshit and crap because it's not even a topic that should be talked about because it's not real. But yet they went and did, and that's what feeds you guys out there. And then I'm sure you've got media members that are like, oh, Omar, the 10 wins, or I don't know. I don't know how many other crazy people are out there trying to say that they're going to win 6 or 8 or 10 wins or whatever, which is insanity. That doesn't help. And what I get it. It's hard to hear the truth, but unfortunately, folks, we have to have patience because we cannot hurry this process up. As much as you and I would love it, that we'd like to do this all in 1 year and let's get to becoming a Super Bowl contender next year. That would be awesome, but that's not reality. Reality is, first we got to see if the people they hired are the right people. And then it's going to take them time after tearing the roster all the way down to build it back up again. And you got to go through your experiences as a team where you fail, where you have successes, where you're able to build on successes with more success because you go to a bigger stage of success, things that we have not experienced for decades. So it's all a process. And unfortunately, sorry, I apologize. You got to have patience. And you can't keep thinking about wins, and you can't keep thinking about, oh, let's buy this player, or let's trade for that one. All those kind of things that people were talking about let's go, we'll make a move for Jawan Jennings. Remember that? All these silly things when that's not in their plans. They're not looking to go out there and spend money. They're not looking to go out there and try to make any shortcuts because it gets them closer. Closer to what? This is a season of development. This is a season to find out if you foundationally and fundamentally you're headed in the right direction. That's all it is. Nothing else. That's what I want to feel like. Oh, shit, we got a coach. Oh, man, you know what? This GM, he found some guys. That's all I want to say at the end of the year. That's all I want to say at the end of the year. I don't care if they won only 2 or 3 games, but I just want to see that you started with the foundation because we're not going to get to any playoffs. We're not going to win any playoffs. We're not going to see them win any championships if you don't have the foundation. We can't skip that part, folks. And it takes a while to build it, whether you like it or not. So let that thing go that some of you have about just dying to get to some finish line, that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Don't forget our friends at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, 16100 Pines Boulevard. Alan does excellent work out there. He's the general manager. Go see Eric Stampone. He's one of the sales managers out there, and they are rocking right now, folks. The Forester, you can get it for $227 a month, 1.9% financing. The Ascent, right now, $337 a month, 1.9% financing. And that's the Ascent Premium, by the way, which is absolutely freaking loaded. The Outback Premium, you can get it for $277 a month, 2.9% financing. The Crosstrek, super affordable, $179 a month, 1.9% financing. The Impreza Sport, $207 a month, 2.9% financing. The WRX Premium, fun little car, man, $347 a month, 2.9% financing. Get on down there, get electrified. They've got the Trailblazer, the Uncharted, the Solterra, and when it comes to electric, their batteries go from 10 to 80% in 28 minutes. There are 25,000 charging stations around the country now. Plus, you get your own portable charger. You can plug it anywhere. At your house, or if you go visit your in-laws somewhere, plug it there, best friend or whatever, just plug it in, man. Take it with you, and you're on the go, and you're always prepared to at the same time. And that way you don't have to visit gas stations anymore and that nasty, dirty pump, man. Go visit our friends at Subaru Pembroke Pines and mention my name, and you will get $500 off. So if you're buying or leasing, make sure you mention my name so you can get $500 off at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. All right. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can use the QR codes there as always. You can also make a donation through the Super Chats. We appreciate those as always. The only thing is we encourage Cash App or Venmo because we get 100% of the donation. Whereas the Super Chats, stinking YouTube, bro, takes 30%. Very cruel on YouTube's part, taking 30% of us hard-working people. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they need it, but it is what it is, as they say. Jay Bird in the house. He's smashing it. Kosa, NorCal, Big Johnson, Jeff in Long Island. Call me crazy, but I'm excited. Let's go. Smash the like button. Yeah, it's football, man. Definitely. TJ Superman. I listened to you, and I won $67 on Cashy LeBron to the Sixers. There you go. Now, remember, I wasn't predicting LeBron to the Sixers because it wasn't like that. It was more about, I said, if you're going to make a logical, an intelligent decision, you go to the Sixers. And LeBron made the logical and intelligent decision. It wasn't really a prediction, okay? Giannis wasn't really a prediction. I said if he is smart, he wants to go to Boston, not Miami. I'd rather play with Tatum if I'm him to win a title. Here, he's not winning shit here. I'm sorry. We do the poetry here, okay? We give you the truth. We're not gonna carry you to then, even though I know they're gonna fail. No, everything will be all right. No, yeah, they've got a chance. Oh, they didn't make it. Yeah, well, they didn't build the team right. Why didn't you say that before? Because that's what I'm saying. So, but yeah, it wasn't a prediction. It was more of, if LeBron really wants to win and have, peace of mind as a basketball player, because if he goes to Golden State, he has to work his ass off to win. They're old. They're slow. If he goes to Miami, they've got no three-point shooters in a three-point league. He has to kill himself in order to win games. In Philly, he doesn't have to kill himself. He's running down the court, and he's feeding Jalen, and he's feeding Maxey, and he's feeding Edgecombe. He's feeding Anthony Simons. He's feeding Embiid. He's got a plethora of people around him that can score all over. In fact, it makes LeBron's job so much easier. You've got to worry about all those mofos out in the three-point line. LeBron's going to have a bunch of easy layups. So for me, okay, I looked at it intelligently, logically, and not like a homer where we had embarrassing people going, "Oh, I only see Miami. That's the logical one." What are you talking about, dude? And so it wasn't a prediction. Okay. I'm glad you won. Okay. But that doesn't mean LeBron could have gone selfishly and said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to stay in the Warriors because my family's in Los Angeles. This way I stay on the West Coast. They love Los Angeles. I can go back and forth there. I'm, that easily. I thought for a time he was going to the Warriors because of that. Yeah, that made sense. But once Philly got in the mix, and Cleveland also made a lot of sense for him, too. The whole Harden thing that plenty of people brought up, very logical. Why would you want to play with Harden? It's like the Minnesota thing. He's going to go play with LaMelo Ball. Really? He's going to play with LaMelo Ball. That shit is funny. Okay? He would get pissed at Rio. Can you imagine playing with Harden or LaMelo Ball? Like, what? What are you talking about, dude? And Rio is not even as crazy as those two guys that are going to do all kinds of, So I'm glad you won, but it wasn't a prediction I gave you. Okay. I just went by, if I'm logical and I'm intelligent and I'm going to do what's best for my career, I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm going to Boston. I'm LeBron James, I'm going to Philadelphia. Giannis is a moron. LeBron is intelligent. I can't, can't help you. I can't help you if Giannis doesn't use his brain. Or maybe, as I'm saying, and as I'm very concerned, this could be a lot of talk, and this could be just about January 6th. You guys know what January 6th is all about? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody out there? January 6th? You know what that is? That's the day he's eligible for that max extension. And the Heat is more than willing to give him that max extension. An older player. But I'm sure he'll do his best to fight through any nicks and knacks through January 6th. After January 6th, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm glad you won, my brother. I'm glad you won. And you won because LeBron went with intelligence and logic. If you would have done the same thing with Giannis, you would have lost. Because I said logic goes to the Celtics, but he came to Miami. So that one I would have failed in, my friend. Ho Yoon, thank you, sir. You are a gentleman. Thank you. Thank you for the generosity. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can make a donation like Ho Yoon did, and you can send in your questions, comments, and insults. We always appreciate it. Thank you out there, Ho Yoon. Appreciate you, my friend. All right. What else do we have on the chat board there? TJ Superman making some money. Rock in there. Juan Rosa. Brian Landis. Ocala Joe says, morning, Owen chat crew. Let's smash it and play for the voice of common sense. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Very kind. Let's see. Idleman is in Castle Rock. Eugene out there. Tim Zappa. LeBron likes his money. He makes a lot. They say spends his day counting. Well, I mean, yeah, he's made more money than any NBA player ever with his salaries. So, yeah, it's well deserved, dude. Well deserved. Wherever he goes, they win, and they win a title. And we'll see if it happens again in Philadelphia. Lenny says, Big O, so the Mike McAirhead dirt is coming out now. Wow, that guy was such a doormat. The man is not a head coach material. Too bad. We had to find out the hard way over 4. Yeah, but Lenny, we talked about that over and over again here, that he was terrible. I gave you guys the examples, one of the many examples I gave you, and I used it all the time. 3rd and 15 against the Green Bay Packers. It's 3rd and 15, and Waddle and Tyreek went off the field and summoned their replacements. Mike McDaniel looks up and calls a 3rd and 15, and he sees that both his best receivers are not on the field. And he still runs the play. And obviously, you know what happened. He hit the kid here and he dropped it. And then the other one, the kid ran the wrong route and ended up being an interception. And that's what happens when you put in, not in the same play, but on that play, the 3rd and 15, that one was the one that hit him right here in the shoulders, and he dropped it, and then did it again during the game. And the dude with the big old what's it called, the dreads, he chosen, he ends up running the wrong route. Goofball. Yeah, Mike McDaniel was terrible, dude. He was a disgrace. Players didn't know where to line up. They didn't know what routes to run. There was constant pre-snap penalties. There was no discipline. That's because he had no discipline. It's a disgrace. Skylar Tipton is in the house. Let's see what else. Anthony, Jeff in Long Island. Rosendo, good morning to you, sir. Yeah, huh? Yeah, you got to go back to school, right? Rosendo enjoying the last days of summer. So is my wife and my daughter. Same thing. I've been on record saying I didn't like McDaniel from the plane conversation with 2 on the phone. Gave him a chance and was off after season 1. I'm just glad he's gone. True Fin fan, not a fan. John Esslinger, buenos dias to you, sir. Jake from Pallet Town. See, Ty in the Bronx, I see. Ray Vardagus. John Cougar Saturday night. You saw him? The old man can still rock it. 5 packs of smoke a day and has not taken. Yeah, well, his voice, maybe it goes with the cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's awesome. And he sounds great still, which is fantastic. Tim Zappa, no wide receiver screens on 3rd and 1. Give Ollie, Ollie G, the rock behind the rook. Well, that'll happen because that left side will be used. Plus Kazmarek, too. I really like the signing of the drafting and signing of Kazmarek. I like having a good blocking tight end on the line. It just adds for a power running game, man. Jake from Pallet Town, stupidity breeds more stupidity. Yes, it does. Big O, since you have such a great Miami Dolphins hat selection, I know you can do better for Heat hat gear. You don't like my Heat hat? Well, what's wrong with my Heat hat? I think this Heat hat is awesome. Yeah. So, and it's really comfortable. Yeah. So you can get this at Caneswear too. Let's see. Fernando Perez, buenos dias to you. 305 Boston. Think Blue Dodgers checking in from LA. Dolphin Dave. Dolphins are going to win within the next 45 years. It seems like every year is the same old thing with the Dolphins. I'm going to have no expectations. Well, that you know, I for wins there shouldn't be much of an expectation. Let's have expectations for professionalism. Let's have expectations for preparation. Let's have expectation for effort. Let's have expectations for intelligence out there. I'm going to be all right with you losing games because you weren't talented enough. You're missing 60% of your cap, and you've got a shit ton of young people. That's a disastrous combination. You got the benefit of the doubt. That's what this whole season's about. A mulligan. Okay. We can't control the talent part. We can't control the money part because that was all screwed up from when you got here. You get the pass on that. What you don't get a pass on is bad coaching, bad decisions, bad leadership, no culture. Those are the things that you want to accomplish this year. Set it where it looks like you are a responsible football team. You're just not very talented. I can live with that. I'm good with that, dude. And the guys that you did draft, if they're impactful, then all of a sudden you can feel like, okay, this guy can draft, and if he can stack a couple of drafts, we're off and running. You can turn it around in 3 years, but you have to know what you're doing. And we just don't know if they know what they're doing. That's all. Let's see, right? Blind ass fan alert. We got the blind ass fan coming through. Oh, I don't know what happened. What did it say? Oh, I expect to win the AFC East and host playoff games in Miami. That's always the goal and the only way my aquamarine brain knows how to think. Yeah, that's I mean, if you're being sarcastic, then, that's good jokes. But if you're being serious, that's not really the way to think, because all you do is disappoint yourself. I always wonder about fans like you. Like, you're not motivated when it's just reality, because I'm just as motivated. I'm fine. I'm happy to see Dolphin season come around, but I know that they're not going to be good. But there are stages to go through in all of this. They're not going to win any division. They're not going to any playoff game. To sit there thinking you're going to win enough games for playoffs, that's ridiculous. There's no chance of that happening. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So why put yourself through something like that? That's like saying you're sitting at the bar and all of a sudden Sydney Sweeney walks in and she's hot as hell, like always, and she's all alone. But you think you're going to walk up and pick up Sydney Sweeney. And you're not. That's just kind of the way it is. So then all of a sudden, you build yourself up. You think you're confident. You walk up to Sydney, and she just gives you a big flat out no. And you get rejected, and you're all depressed because you thought you had a chance. But you didn't sit back and sit at reality and go, I should have gone to the bathroom and look in the mirror and go, can I get Sydney Sweeney? No, I can't. Okay, let's move on. So, Tim, there'll be no Sydney Sweeney for you, bro. Okay? You're just going to have to deal with Mama June. Let's see what we got here. NorCal, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm buying Tesla 302 and Rivian in 16. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, I got you. Man, how about when Tesla was at 105? And we were talking about it on the show. And it went all the way down from 270, and then it shot up to like 390 or whatever. Now it's like at 302. That's why I tell people that, about like with Bitcoin, like it's down 54%, and yet Tesla was way down more than that. Nike right now is down like, I don't know, it was like 73% a couple weeks ago. I don't know exactly where it's at right now, but it's down quite a bit. It happens, man. You have volatility in markets all the time with all kinds of different investments. Yeah. In fact, for Bitcoin, just to kind of give you a little insight on the dip for Bitcoin, we're at 54% in 2026. In 2022, it was 78%. In 2017, it was 84%. In 2013, it was 86%. In 2011, it was 94%. It started in 2008. So after the first halving in 2011, it went down after that 94%. And it's gone 94, 86, 84, 78, and we're at 54. It tells you that the corrections are getting smaller. And that's how it's going to be as time goes on. The corrections will get smaller and smaller. Why? More and more people will be on board. More and more people will understand, will get educated, and will realize what's going on with our money compared to this money. Because this money only goes up. It's just don't get caught with the shocks. Just watch the overall 17-year stretch, and it's always like that. You're going to have your ups and downs. Your job as an investor is like what NorCal is doing now. You're not going to get Tesla anymore at 105. You had that chance a couple of years ago when it went from 270 to 105. You had your chance to get in. You didn't do that. Okay, so now went to 390. Now it's in the low 300s. That's you. You wait for the bottom there where you think it's a bottom, and then you dive in and you get ready to buy again, and then it continues to ride. Okay, that's how you do these things. All right. I could pick up Sydney Sweeney. She's probably only 115 pounds. I like it. Anthony Campos, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. And he says, Real Housewives of One Baby Daddy, T Hill Bravo 27. Yeah. That's a show. He needs the money. He probably, the life of Tyreek Hill and the babies and the baby mamas. And that's what he needs to do that next. He needs to, I like that, Anthony Campos. You should approach Bravo for that. Maybe you can be like an executive producer of the show. Tyreek Hill and his baby mamas. And then it's just about all the drama with all the baby mamas and all the children. I'm with you there. That would be a lot of fun. I wouldn't watch 1 minute of it, but there's a crowd for that shit. There's no doubt. I don't watch any of that Real Housewives crap or anything like that. Let's see. What else do we have here? My boss put $100 on them to go winless. Wow. The Dolphins to go winless. They'll win a game or two. I think they'll win a game or two. I don't think they'll win much more than that. I think it'll be a miracle to get to 3. True FinFan says, absolutely, I'm motivated. A new beginning gives me the intrigue and wonder, what will this be? As a Dolphins fan, we have nothing else. It is passion that keeps me hooked, knowing, sucks. Jesus, Mama June, I'd rather stay single. Big O Tesla was $495 within the last. Look at that. Yeah. And if you would have bought it at 105, you would have been killing it. Big O, I won't tell you what to say on your show, but please never mention Mama June before noon again. Joseph, what's up with you, my brother? Thank you for tuning in. Tyreek Hill reality show should be called Cheetah and the Jungle. Yeah, because that's true. The world is a damn jungle, and yeah, with all those baby mamas and all those kids, that's a crazy-ass world he's living in. Definitely. Oh, my God. He's going to be so broke. Like, I want to say I feel bad for him, but it's hard to feel bad when he kind of brought it on himself, all of this crap. It's kind of like the Rossini thing. I personally like Diana Rossini. I enjoyed her reporting, but you can't get around, unfortunately, what she did. She screwed up royally, and it is what it is. If she didn't screw up royally, she would have been at the top of every mountain screaming and, for her innocence. And that obviously that has not happened. But when you bring it on yourself, you can't do anything about it. And Tyreek has brought all of this on himself, dude. Every bit of it. Yeah. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. You can send in your questions, comments, insults. We appreciate them as always. Sweet Baby Ray, thank you, sir, for the love on Cash App. I appreciate your generosity. He says, for dog days of summer, almost over. Amen, dude. Amen. Almost over. We are almost over the hump, as they say. Couple more days, about a little less than a week. By next week, we'll actually start having some tangible stuff to talk about. So that's going to be really cool, man. I'm looking forward to it myself. Let's see here. All right. Now, I do want to talk a little Miami Heat with you all, because there's something that I've been talking about here on the show. And just let's see if some folks are paying attention. Since they acquired Giannis, what kind of seed did I tell you the Dolphins, the Miami Heat would be? What seed? I want to know. I want to see how many of you. No, there's no media camp today, Rock. Okay, none. Oh, no, actually, there is media. They do interviews. They do interviews with the coach and the players, but there's no practices, is what I mean. That's tomorrow, and there's no pads or anything. It won't start till like Sunday. The real practices won't start till like Sunday. So really, got nothing. We will talk to Furones in the afternoon, so that will drop later. So be on the lookout for that on the platform. But I'm not going to talk to him now before he hasn't talked to the coach or the players. All right, so what did I tell you guys that the Heat would be with Giannis now? Okay, and Skylar Tipton, as always, he's here. He actually pays attention. He sees it. I said a 5th or a 6th seed is what I said. And I said that if they got LeBron, it would be a 4th seed. Not even top 3 with LeBron. I said with LeBron, you might have a shot at 4. But I said with Giannis now, 5 or 6, right? So DraftKings comes out with their preseason, predictions of win totals and odds since all the free agency has been done and all that good stuff. And LeBron made his decision. The Knicks are number 1 with 53.5 wins. Number 2 is Boston at 51.5 wins. Tied for 3rd, it's Detroit and the Sixers with 50.5 wins. So that's your 4 seeds right now. Number 5 is the Cavs at 47.5. And number 6 is the Miami Heat at 46.5. Now, they have computers. They have algorithms. They have crazy math, as you all know in Vegas, how they do the lines every night. They have crazy math skills that they have and projections and how they do this stuff, and they're pretty damn good at it. Okay. Yours truly doesn't. I just kind of go by what I see. And I told you they'd be a 5 or a 6. They got them at 6. Oh, man. It's all right. I mean, listen, you could go listen to Heat-centric sites. They probably tell you they got a shot at the title. And again, that's really good for the let me see here. What's my man's name? That's good for the Tim Zappas of the world. Because the Tim Zappas of the world, we got Giannis. We're going to win the title. We're taking down the Knicks. The Knicks and the Sixers suck. We got Giannis. That's what's it's going to happen. And then those Heat-centric sites, because they all can only talk about the Heat, they got to talk it up. You know what I'm saying? But this is actually pretty realistic. I would have to. I mean, I would have to agree with them because they have the formulas that I don't. I'm just kind of going off of what I see, think, and feel from all the other teams and watching what I actually watch the sports. So 5 or 6. I would say that's pretty accurate for the Miami Heat. We'll see what happens. We'll see if DraftKings and yours truly is right. The question is, do we go over 46.5 or under 46.5? What say folks on the board right now? Over or under 46.5? What would you do? What would you bet? Talk to me. Tell me. What would you do? I'll give you my answer, but I want to hear what you guys got. Sam the man. That is funny. Tobin will have him in the finals. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good dude, but yeah, that's his shtick. Yeah. Play you can't lose like that. It's fans love that kind of stuff. They love for you to play that game, and that way if you lose, oh well, it's harmless. So yeah, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll have him winning the title. True Fin fans got under. Yaters got under. Skylar under. TJ Superman's got the over. And Edward, I would bet a little over 46. No, it's 46.5. So you need 47. So it's either there's no little this that. Is it over or under? And by the way, I'm with the majority right now. I'm going under. I don't think Giannis will stay healthy. He has been broken down every year since 2019. And he missed a shit ton of games this year. Even if he could have come back for a few games, he still would have missed a whole bunch of games, dude. So, yeah, I'm not I would have. Let's see. What else do we have? Heat definitely under. That roster is garbage. A bunch of players from Costco on that piece of crap roster, says Ty in the Bronx. Yeah, Jovic wearing out of body. Yeah, I know. All right, and the other Heat news that is out there, that again, this is not something that I'm looking forward to, but where you're at right now, you don't have a lot of options. So apparently 36-year-old Klay Thompson is going to approach his team about a buyout. And the word out on the street is that Miami is his top target. This guy's 36 years old. He posted a career low 11.7 points per game, a career low 10.6 shots per game, a career low in three-pointers attempted per game, okay? A career low field goal percentage of 39%, a career low of a three-point percentage, 38.3%. Everything about his game says declining. I don't know where this makes a lot of sense, but the problem is you're desperate. You have no options. And this kind of reminds me of that first year with the big three that you had Mike Bibby and some of these other scrubbies, and it wasn't enough around them. And then the following year, you got a couple of whatever exemptions, and you had a little bit more flexibility, and you were able to add Battier and Ray Allen and all that, and it really changed. This kind of reminds me of the same stuff going on, that you've made this move, and maybe next year you'll get some flexibility and you'll be able to add a little bit more to what you have. But my problem is you're adding another year of wear and tear on Giannis, and then you're expecting him to be the same in his 15th season and stuff like that. These are things that just don't make sense to me. And the way he plays, he doesn't have an outside game that he can count on a consistent basis. It's just the weirdest thing. But where you're at now, you don't have many options. And you're going to have to settle for something like Klay Thompson, who is clearly on the decline. And supposedly it's Miami or a return to Golden State, actually. I don't know if he wants to go back to Golden State so he can have a final hurrah with Curry and Draymond Green since they won their titles and all that good stuff. Then again, he was let go, so he might be still bitter and may not want to go back. I don't know, but it sounds like Miami is the place that he's coming to. But I can't tell you that I'm super excited about old-ass, broken-down Klay Thompson coming here to help Miami. It doesn't move the needle whatsoever to any seeding. Okay, I still think you're a 5 or a 6 seed. At best case scenario. Can you imagine if they still end up in the play-in? Oh, my Lord. That would be pretty bad. But we'll see what happens with Klay Thompson. Don't forget, folks, please smash the hell out of the like button. Visit our friends at Welt & Associates if you're dealing with personal injury, car accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents, slip and falls, dog bites, wrongful death claims, property insurance claims from hurricane damage, roof damage, water intrusion, fire and smoke, mold-related damage, bankruptcy, Chapter 7, 13, 11, debt relief options, business debt issues. They can help you. The consultation's completely free, so you can explain your situation, and they'll tell you if you have a case, and if you have any damage to your home, your business, or your car. You don't call the insurance companies. You call Welt & Associates first. You explain your situation. They send their adjusters over. They will assess the real damage, and then they will attack the insurance company on your behalf. That's the best thing. We don't want to deal with the insurance company. That's just a headache. Jeff Welt will deal with that. 954-966-4646. All right. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Use the QR codes. Big O, an Elvis outfit if they go over. If you buy it, yeah, I'll do it. If they go the over, why not? Let's go. Let's have some fun. As long as you're not asking me to like run naked across an intersection or something like that, or a mall or something nutty like that, that I would never do. Alexis Palenzuela. What else there? Jamie Zorria out in Torreon, Mexico. Hoping everybody has a great day and encouraging you to smash the like button. Tim says, I'm a Sixers fan and my Sixers are over the Heat under. I like that. Over 50.5 for the Sixers. Yes. Heat under for sure. Definitely the Heat under 46.5. That's not something that I, but yeah, you should feel good about your Sixers, bro. Jesus Christ. What a team. And LeBron, I commend him. He really wants to win. And he went to the situation where he can help put them over the top. It'll be pretty cool if he's able to do that. What is Klay? Oh, he's not. It's minimum. It's what they have left in their exemption is what he gets. I think it's like $8 million, something like that, 7-8 million or something like that. They don't have a lot. He gets very little. It's not a big deal. But again, it's Klay Thompson. So, bro, it will it make a difference with DeRozan? Well, DeRozan's not a 3-point shooter. You almost want Klay over DeRozan because Klay can shoot the 3. DeRozan's a 2-point shooter, and dude, you add another 2-point shooter to the team. So that's the only thing that Rock I would do differently, my brother. I don't really care about either guy. I don't really think it's going to make much of a difference. But for the purposes of inside outside game and because this is a 3-point league, I would have to lean for Clay over DeRozan. Yeah. It's crazy I'm saying that, but yeah, only because he's a 3-point shooter, dude. That's it. If the Dolphins beat the Raiders and 49ers to start the season, then what? Tim, I deal with guys like you all the time, every year, and I got the same thing from Marlins people at the beginning of the year. Oh, no, this will be the year. And last year, people thought the Dolphins were going to the playoffs. You know, you had some idiot on QAM saying that they were going to start the season 7-0. Yeah, I get this all the time, dude. You know what I mean? And I don't think they'll beat the Niners at all. They're going to get killed by the Niners because they play them early. That's the part that sucks. If they would play them later in the seasons, they're so old that they'll break down a lot. The Raiders game, it's almost like if they were playing Mendoza, I would tell you it might be a toss-up in that game. But because they're playing Kirk Cousins and because they don't have a pass rush, Miami that is, and they don't have a secondary, I kind of give the Raiders an edge in that one because of Kirk Cousins. If it was Mendoza, okay, the rookie can make mistakes. Maybe you can get away with it. But Kirk Cousins against a defense that has no pass rush and no secondary, yeah, that's dangerous, my brother. And it's their first game. Super dangerous for the Dolphin defense. Yeah, even though I understand what you're saying, the Raiders aren't that good. It should be a winnable game, but not the way Miami is constructed. Kirk Cousins should be able to easily take advantage of Miami's defense. And that's where I worry about that. Let's see if they can at least play, responsible. Jaybird says maybe Riley sees something in Klay Thompson that we don't. After all, he did sign Ray Allen at 37. Yeah, but Ray Allen was still playing well. Klay Thompson, like I told you, his numbers are declining. And you're asking, and Ray was not, put it this way, you're going to ask Klay to do more than Ray had to do for the Heat because the Heat was loaded. So Ray Allen didn't have to carry you. You had 3 monsters carrying you, and then you had all the other guys that were contributing. You know what I'm saying? But Ray Allen had not declined as a 3-point shooter, as a specialist. He had declined as a franchise player, that he could not carry franchises anymore like he used to in his early days with Milwaukee and Seattle. You know what I mean? That's where his game declined. But this guy's game has declined because he's old and injured. He's come back from several injuries. That's the difference. Ray Allen didn't have a bunch of injuries, Jay. And that's where Klay Thompson has had a bunch of injuries and bad ones, and that's taken its toll on him too at the same time. Yeah, they're at different stages, even in their older ages. And they're at different roles too. You're almost at you need this desperately from Klay Thompson. You could go some nights where Ray Allen didn't contribute much because you had 3 monsters that could score a ton of points. What is your opinion in the biggest weakness? The defense, Tim. They have no defense. They have no pass rush and no secondary. That's it. I know that they don't have a strong receiving core, but I like their line if, and it's a big if, okay, if Savonai is really a right guard, because he's not a left guard, well, maybe he'll settle in better than he did last year. I know that Jackson can play his ass off. He's awesome. He's terrific. He's a fantastic player. He just doesn't stay healthy. But if he does stay healthy and this guy figures it out at right guard, and then the rookie can, do a decent job at guard because it won't be easy for him, the other 2 guys are money. I like the line. I like the running backs. Overall, the wide receivers, That's kind of a bit of a question mark. But the defense is bad. Bad. Secondary's bad. Safeties, corners, terrible. And pass rush sucks. Where they may have some potential is obviously linebacker and their D line. Okay, with the tackles and all that. Hopefully they can get some movement there. But their pass rushing and their secondary, oh my God, in a passing league, that's not the combination you want to be weak at. And that's where Miami's going to get exposed badly. Badly. Oh, what else do we have there? Brett Dodger, Basketball Jones, 4 of the first 6 on the road. Yeah, it's not easy. Jim says, Big O, a little crypto talk here. The damn Senate needs to get off its ass and pass the Clarity Act. Morons. Jim, it's very complicated. You have a corrupt president that ripped people off with the Melania and Trump coins for over $600 million, $630 million in just meme coins. With you add the Trump Fidelity, it goes to $1.4 billion. All those coins went to shit because they're terrible investments. They're crap. There's nothing behind them. There's no utility to them. But people are stupid. They don't do their homework. And so now you got the Dems who are completely against, crypto at times. Some you got a couple that are finally crossing over and figuring out that it's the future. But the problem is if we don't get the dirty part out of it, right, then it keeps staining it. And it has nothing to do with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin and Ethereum are clean and completely off the whole thing. But in other cryptos, there's a lot of dirty shit that goes on. But if the president of the United States is going to be the dirtiest one of them all, then what do you think the Dems are going to do? And so you already have them against crypto. Now you've got Trump doing dirty shit and ripping people off, and now you've got all this stuff going on, and it's just hard to kind of go through it all. Do we need it? Of course. Germany's advancing in it. China's advancing in it. Russia's advancing in it. And if we don't do it, we're going to fall behind. You know what I mean? As a country, it's up to you as individuals what you do. Because whether it happens or it doesn't, Bitcoin takes over whether you like it or not, because all fiat currencies are dying. That's the inevitable. And you can mark that down. That's money. And I've been telling you that for 7 years. And I've been telling you for 7 years that they've been building the entire financial system that is going to the blockchain. I've been telling you, and this is all. But if we're going to do that, we need rules and regulations. But since we have two sides that can never agree on anything because both sides are terrible, both sides want power, both sides screw us constantly, this is what we're in the middle of a brutal husband and wife fight, mother and father fight, and we're the children, and we have no control. And they're having this brutal divorce where they're going back and forth and lawsuits and all kinds of stuff, restraining orders and just dirty shit. That's what we're dealing with, and we're in the middle, caught up in all of this. And that's why you've got two sides that can't agree on anything, because they all have their own agendas and they all have their own self-interests, and that's all they're looking out for. And the last people they're looking out for are Americans. The last thing that Republicans and Democrats are looking out for are Americans. So yeah, we need it, but I just don't see it passing. Unless we get enough Dems to cross over, and maybe they're also dirty enough that they want to do their own stuff because they do it in the stock market. So eventually it's going to happen, and both sides are going to get all the inside, and they're all going to get rich like they all do over us. But at least those of us that understand what the hell is going on, we got a chance to get ahead a little bit. Either way, I don't think anything stops the Bitcoin train. It's impossible to stop it. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. You can send in your questions, comments, insults. Speaking of Bitcoin, 63.3 right now, down 2% right now in Bitcoin. As for the market, we are up 413 points. The Dow, the S&P is down 1.5 points. The NASDAQ is up almost 2. And SpaceX, some suckers' money came in. It went from 108 to 114. What a bunch of idiots. You know what's going on in the market, right? You see the 400 that it's up? Well, and I hate to phrase it this way, but I'm going to phrase it this way because it's the truth. The dumb money's coming in and the smart money is selling right now. There's a lot of stocks being sold. Problem is that there's a lot of people in retail. Whale investors are selling. The retail investors are the ones that are getting in, and they're going to end up getting screwed at one point or another because there's going to be a major crash. But hang in there. Hang in there, folks. Hang in there. ESPN and the NFL. There's a couple of examples going on in sports with ESPN and the NFL that it is not good. First of all, we start off with the Shanahan story, which, somebody brought it up yesterday, and we have no information on it. We really don't know what happened overall. But the part that we do know about the Shanahan story is that the guy almost lost his life. The guy almost lost his eye, according to Chris Sims. He's all messed up, but they withheld the information. Why? That's the question that you got to ask yourself. Why would you withhold the information? What would make you do that you would wait for the information to clear from the NFL, and then after that, the entities and, Schefter and all these people then followed suit. So there's some shadiness going on because people are wondering why all of this was hidden. So apparently Kyle Shanahan was holding and using a cell phone at the time of the accident. And people are wondering, well, where's all this information? 49ers' successful efforts to keep the Kyle Shanahan car accident under wraps until the day the team reported to training camp served only to make people why it was so important to treat the situation with extreme secrecy, which has caused some to wonder whether there's more to the story. And here's something more to the story. It's found by Grant Cohen from SI.com. Citing and linking to a public government website, Cohen reported that Shanahan was holding and using a cell phone at the time of the accident. Via Cohen, the website indicates that Shanahan was in violation of California's vehicle code, which prohibits holding and operating a cell phone while driving. The other driver, per Cohen, was deemed to be at fault because she swerved into Shanahan's lane and causing the head-on collision. Airbags in both were deployed. The initial ESPN report, posted minutes after the 49ers presumably authorized the release of the information, indicates that the other driver suffered no injuries. Shanahan, in contrast, sustained a broken nose, a broken hand, broken ribs, and a severe concussion. He also needed 40 stitches to close the lacerations in his face. The fact that Cohen was able to find this information underscores the reality of the local media, consciously or not, ignored the story until it was reported. Most news organizations have employees who actively monitor all public reports and databases for incidents involving public figures. Either the reporters whose media outlets cover the 49ers weren't looking for the information, or they found it but opted to say nothing of the information was withheld or slow played by the public agencies. Even now, it doesn't seem like the entities who actively track all these things the Niners are exploring the rabbit hole that was created by the 11-day lag between the occurrence of the collision on a public roadway and the coordinated disclosure of it. Some of the folks have opted to direct frustrations at those who have called the situation as they see it. Why not direct some of the attention to finding out exactly what happened? And the problem with the entire story is it seems rigged, and they hit it and we don't know why. And maybe some of this stuff will become public, but cops were involved. It's like, okay, so then what happened here? Was there, even though she was at fault because she went over the other lane and head-on collision, so she was at fault, not Shanahan. Yeah, and I know he's on the phone, but it's just kind of weird that they would hide all of this. And it makes it look like maybe he was drunk or he was on drugs or something like that. But it's really doesn't look, there's no proof of anything like that. And again, the other person was at fault for causing the accident because they went on to the other lane and a head-on collision. Now, I say this because there's a second story that is going on that has to do with the NFL, that has to do with ESPN being kind of involved in dirty stuff. So I just want to show you where we're going now when it comes to what's it called, sports news and all of this kind of stuff. So apparently, and I got to give Jeff Pearlman credit. He's a good dude. He went after Pat McAfee after the ESPN host revealed that he used insider information on LeBron James for a free agency destination. So here's how the story goes. Okay. McAfee said on his show that he used advanced information from ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania to bet on LeBron's free agency destination. Charania had told McAfee ahead of time that he would want him on the show that day, which McAfee said signaled that James was making a decision before it became public. Pearlman argued in TikTok video that at the moment showed ESPN had abandoned its claim to being journalistic credibility. McAfee recounted the exchange on the show saying, "We were told by Shams, you're going to want me on the show today." He continued, so it's like, okay, decision being made. I just hammered the top four. He was plus 700. And according to Awful Announcing, Pearlman responded to the clip by extended rant, posting a TikTok saying ESPN's gambling business has overtaken whatever journalistic role the network had. Pearlman pointed to ESPN's recent layoffs while criticizing the network's approach to gambling. ESPN just laid off a bunch of people, real reporters, real journalists, people who take this seriously, and we're listening to Shams, who's their NBA insider, on the show with the guy talking about how he used the information that he received on the show from people involved on the show to gamble on where LeBron is going. Did he share that with the rest of his audience? No, he didn't. He after the fact. And you have no credit. Listen, I barely ever watch ESPN anymore. It's a joke of, I got to tell you something. I am ecstatic that I'm towards the end of my career. And I don't have to deal much with this business anymore. I'm really glad that I don't walk into buildings that much anymore. I don't really have to do what I do, but I'm really glad I don't have to deal with a whole bunch of the politics and the bullshit that goes on constantly, because I'm just not the guy that tolerates it. And I call it out right away, right there and then. I'll call it out to their faces, and I've done it over and over again. And I have zero issues with that. And this is where we're headed, folks. Well, this is where we're at already. Insiders are owned by the agents. and they have to say whatever they want. And sometimes they have to say stuff that may not make sense, but they're taking a bullet for the agent to promote something else or to set something else up. It's become a real joke. It's kind of disgraceful what is going on at times with sports news. But those are two examples of ESPN involved. And the one with the NFL, now that the NFL has 10%, this is like they're in bed and they have to cover each other's asses now. And that means you don't get the information that you're supposed to get. Or you're not going to get all the information that you were supposed to get. Market went up 559 points. S&P went up to 21 points. How about that? SpaceX all the way up to 115. Wow. That is some dumb money coming in, baby. All right. Guess we'll wait a little bit more for it to drop. Anyway, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Let's see. What else do we have going on? Oh, you know what? Let me do a little music. Let's do that. Let's get that out of the way. We always love doing music. Let's get going with famous people born on July 28th. We start off with Soulja Boy. DeAndre Cortez, born in 1990. Jacoby Dakota Shaddix, lead singer of Papa Roach, born in 86. Afro Man, Joseph Edgar Foreman. By the way, Afro Man, happy birthday to him, born in 74. But the lawsuit that he did against the cops locally and how he beat their asses in that lawsuit, if you haven't seen the story behind it for Afro Man taking the cops to the to court, and he made them look like complete idiots. I mean, dude, he took it to levels of trolling that are heights that very few people have ever been. Seriously, Afro Man is one of my heroes. What he did to those guys, that was awesome and well-deserved too. Way to go, Afro Man. But what a great story. Check it out. You will laugh your ass off at what he did to those cops and how he made them look stupid. Rachel Sweet, singer, born in 62. Malcolm Holmes, drummer with OMD, born in 1960. T.M. Stevens, a bass guitarist, recorded with James Brown, Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Little Steven, Tina Turner, Billy Joel. Passed away in 2024 at the age of 72. Steve Took, percussionist with T-Rex, born in 49. Simon Kirk, drummer with Free and Bad Company, born in 49. Gerald Cassell, vocalist, bass guitarist, synthesizer player, and founding member of Devo. There we go. Of Devo. There we go. Thanks to Dougie Fresh out there, wherever he's at. Rick Wright, born in 43, keyboardist with Pink Floyd. George Cummings with Dr. Hook, born in 38, playing the steel guitar. Now we move over to other famous people born on this date. Remember, if I don't give you an age, that means, unfortunately, they have passed away. We start off with U.S. First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, born in 1929. basketball. Is she now the second hottest first lady? Right? Because I guess the mail order bride becomes number one, right? Melania becomes number one, and then it's Jackie O, right? Was Jackie O considered the number one, right? And then so I would imagine Melania passes Jackie O, or do some of you still have Jackie O over Melania? I don't know which one. Maybe because one's a mail order bride, you may not even want to rank her. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Basketball Hall of Fame member and former Senator Bill Bradley, born in 43, still with us. He's 83. Cartoonist Jim Davis, born in 45. He's 81. Actress Sally Struthers. Oh, my God. Should I pull out the Sally Struthers? I should do that. You know that in honor of Sally Struthers and her birthday today, Neil Rogers, back in the day, he had this drop of Sally Struthers, and it was a really funny drop. And so I figured, what the hell? Today is Sally Struthers' birthday, right? So.
And now this public service announcement about Sally Struthers.
For $90, you could clothe a child. For $90, you could help fight cancer. Or you could feed Sally Struthers for a whole day for just $90.
I'm Sally Struthers. Working with starving people like I do can make you pretty hungry. And since there's not enough food to go around here, my food has to be shipped in every day. Your $90 will keep me fat and sassy so I can set a good example for these skinny little Ethiopians.
Remember, it takes more than shoulder pads and a big hairdo for Sally to do good work. It also takes food. Don't be a meathead. Give us $90. It'll feed Sally Struthers for a whole day.
Neil, we miss you. Happy birthday, Sally Struthers. Let's see who else. Ty King, Ram X, born in 52. He's 74. Steve Morse of Deep Purple, born in 54. He's 72. Musician Christopher Reese of Social Distortion, born in 59. He's 67. Actress and college scam artist Lori Loughlin, born in 64. She's 62. Had to think of a way to phrase it. UFC President Dana White, born in 69. He's 57. Actress Elizabeth Berkley, born in 72. She's 54. Saved by Her Bells. Let's see what else here. Actor John David Washington, born in 84. He's 42. Musician Glorilla, born in 99. She is 27. Those are famous people born on July 28th. Now we move over to what happened today in music history. And on the 28th, we start off in 70. The Australian Western film Ned Kelly opened up, and it marked Mick Jagger's acting debut. In 73, on this date, more than 600,000 people turned out to see the Grateful Dead, the Allman Brothers, and the others in concert at the Summer Jam Festival in Watkins Glen, New York. In 92, rapper Ice-T announced that Warner Brothers Records would pull the controversial song Cop Killer from all the future copies of his Body Count album. The song had been the target of protests by law enforcement groups who said it encouraged the killing of police. Ice-T said he would give away recordings of Cop Killer at his concert. Ice-T would later join the cast of NBC police drama Law and Order, where he plays the role of a police detective, Orefin Finn Tutola. In 92, Mary J. Blige released her debut album, What's the 411? It took the top spot at the R&B hip-hop album charts at number 6 on the Billboard 200. Her unique blend of hip-hop and soul earned her nickname Queen of Hip-Hop Soul. In 92, Bare Naked Ladies released her debut studio album, Gordon. In 93, Natalie Merchant sang for the last time with 10,000 Maniacs before embarking on a solo career, which it was a decent solo career, but Natalie, you should have never left the Maniacs. Your best music will always be with the Maniacs. Sorry. Carnival was nice, but it's not anything like you did with the Maniacs. Let's see who else. In 2011, Meatloaf passed on stage at Pittsburgh's Tribe Amphitheater during an apparent asthma attack. After about 10 minutes, he was able to breathe normally again and was able to finish the show. In 2017, Arcade Fire released her fifth studio album, Everything Now. And in 2021, ZZ Top bassist Dusty Hill died at the age of 72. Let me see if there's any birthdays that were left off the other one. Frankie Yankovic, known as America's Polka King, born today, 1915. How am I going to leave out America's Polka King? You can't do that. Happy birthday to you, sir. I wonder if it's Weird Al Yankovic. Is that his dad, Frankie Yankovic? I have no idea. I'm just guessing here. You know, can one of you look it up? Is Frankie Yankovic the father of Weird Al Yankovic? I mean, two Yankovics, both in music. It's kind of weird. Let's see who else was on there. Pulp drummer Nick Banks is 61. And that's it, actually. And that's what happened today in music history. All right. Bro, how many people in the audience know who Neil is? Don't know. I have no idea. Very few, probably. But, you know, at least you get to know a little bit about history that happened here in South Florida and somebody that was here. Plus, it's a really funny bit. Now, it's not as funny for young people because they don't really know Sally Struthers. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it's a little different. That's where that joke kind of runs out. So you've got to be a certain age to appreciate a Sally Struthers, you know, joke in a way. That's all I can say. Let's see. No relation. Thank you, Rosendo. Appreciate you. I definitely can trust you. Rock says John Candy, the poker king of Wisconsin. Rosendo says, happy birthday to Terry Fox. Jackie O is still the most beautiful first lady in my book. That's what I was saying. It's one of the two now. Now that's the way they're going to have to go. You have Rosalind Carter. Oh, that was good. That was good. Thank you for the laugh, dude. Thank you for the laugh. That was good. That was really, really good. Hey, I mean, this could happen to any of us. Believe it or not, this shit can happen to any of us. But how is it that your son ends up shooting your mom? Did you guys see this whole thing with Eric Bieniemy? It's an insane story. And listen, I don't know what happened in that house. I have no idea. I don't know what's wrong with that kid. I don't know how he's been treated. I don't know if he was treated well or if he wasn't. You know how it is. If you've lived long enough, you know that kids can go either way. You can be the perfect parent and your kid could be a complete disaster and it wasn't your fault. You could be a complete disaster and your kid turns out to be fantastic. And it wasn't your fault either because you just didn't do the work. Or somehow or another, you could be a screwed up parent, you end up with a screwed up kid. You could be a great parent and you end up with a great kid. All those combinations exist, right? We can all agree on that, correct? Those of us that at least are old enough, you've seen all those combinations. You've seen the good parents that get screwed over by the bad kid. You've seen the good kid that gets screwed over by the bad parents. You've seen the bad parent that ends up with a good kid. You've seen the good parent that ends up with a bad kid. You've seen both. You've seen the great parent and the great kid. You've seen them both. You've seen every combination out there, right? We can agree on that. So we have no idea what went on in the Bieniemy household. Either way, to get to the extreme of shooting your mom, listen, dude, if you don't like your mom, just stay away from her. There's nothing wrong with that. Plenty of people, plenty of families don't get along with each other. There's plenty of people watching now that either don't get along with a brother or a sister or a mother or a father or a grandfather or grandmother or an uncle, whatever, and you don't even deal with them. I have certain family members that I don't deal with them at all because I know it's just going to be a burden on my life. You have them too. We all have them. So these are things that we cannot explain, right? So Eric Bieniemy, the son of the offensive coordinator of Kansas City, was booked and charged with 3 felonies following the shooting of Mia at her Virginia home. Elijah was charged with the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, malicious wounding, and discharging a firearm within a building. The Chiefs' training camp kicked off. Whatever. Anyway, Eric Bieniemy was working with the team. His wife Mia was shot in their Virginia home. Adam Schefter reports that the terrifying news that 57-year-old Mia was being treated for serious injuries. Police did not initially reveal the victim's identity, but confirmed on Monday that the incident had occurred on Sunday night. The Chiefs released a statement saying they're aware of the incident, yada, 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 all that other stuff. And then it goes into Bieniemy's career and this and that, and which, I always hate that part. Because it has nothing to do with the story. But I guess for the person that doesn't know who the hell Eric Bieniemy is, they got to explain who Eric Bieniemy is. That's the only thing I can think of is why they're doing that. That's such a screwed up situation. And again, I don't have the information. You don't have the information. Now, there is no justification for shooting your parents, for shooting anybody, unless somebody has a gun at you and then you've got to shoot them. I mean, that's the only way that you're shooting somebody is if you're trying to defend. But to go to the extreme of shooting your mom or your dad or any of your siblings, that is, man. I saw that story, and as a parent, let's say they did all the right things, and I'm sure you know people like that too. Maybe you're one of those that you did all the right things, and your kid just didn't fall in line or whatever, and it happens. And you just sit there and you wonder how you failed. That's what happens there. After all that tragedy, you wonder where you failed that it got to that point. And it just, wow, what a disturbing story. And stuff like this happens all the time. It happens in the real world all the time. It's just we're in the sports world, so now we're talking about it this way. But this is something that goes on every state, every community. There's some kind of violence within the family. Sad story, man. Hope the mom recovers mentally and physically because she has got to be, especially the mother over the father, they probably take it even harder. Andrew says, thank you for reminding me of the great Neil Rogers. He was one of a kind. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love Neil. Enjoyed growing up and listening to Neil, man. He brought a lot of common sense to the conversations. He may have delivered it in a different way, but the message was loud and clear. And he was usually right about a lot of things. Daddy Dean says, Big O, my son Daniel's rock band won the semifinals in the Battle of the Bands in Orlando. Now His band Sirens is in the finals this September. Wow, that is awesome, dude. Wow, we were just in Orlando last weekend for the Fix concert. I was just, in fact, on X, I just posted an old Fix concert ticket from the Button South. Because what was it? One of our listeners sent me a ticket of I think it was Prince in the Orange Bowl. Oh no, Prince, that tour of the Purple Rain, because it was released whatever 40 something years ago yesterday or whatever, and I had tweeted out, and then he sent a picture of the ticket where he saw that tour, and then I posted my ticket from the Orange Bowl of the Prince concert. It's there. If you go to our Twitter page at Big O Show, you will see a lot of that stuff there. Daniel now plays guitar and piano in the band, playing one song with guitar, then the next song with the piano. Nice. Very cool. I like that. There you go, Rosendo. Nice job by you, sir. Says band songs, Piano Man, Mamma Mia. Wow, Mamma Mia. You got to carry that note, baby. Bee Gees, Barracuda Heart, Toxicity, System of a Down, Lamento Boliviano from Enatios Verdes, Oye Mi Amor from Areales, System of a Down. All right. Big O, the influences of pop culture, social media, and online addiction on some kids these days cannot be understated. Yeah. Or you know what, Brett? We don't know what it is. It could be influences like what you're talking about. It could be he's not wired right. It could be that his parents created a monster. We don't know. Because all of those could be true. You're 1,000% right. He could have been influenced by the wrong people, social media, all kinds of stuff like that. That happens. Also happens that sometimes somebody comes into this world and they're not wired the right way. And you can't do shit about that. And your parents can fight it and can love it and can understand it and can support it and can try to do everything, and they still get burned. We've seen that. I mean, I've seen all these things in my lifetime. I've seen the good parent that got screwed. I've seen the bad parent that got lucky. I've seen the bad parent that produced a bad kid. I've seen it all. I've seen every type. So that's the thing. We just don't know what happened and how things are in the Bieniemy household. We just don't know. You do know that the kid went to an extreme. How he got there are many roads to get to it. Unfortunately, it's just not one, and that's just what we don't know. The enemy was in the Bieniemy household. That's the disturbing part. If your son doesn't win the band competition, just say it was rigged and call the judges corrupt and threaten to sue the event for $20 billion. That's fantastic. That's funny. The top 10 worst quarterbacks of all time. Yeah, I ran into this article, and I thought it was interesting. It was on, I think it's a Sports Nut or something like that called. I think it is. Worst quarterbacks, I think it was. Sports Nut or one of those websites. I forgot which one it was. Let me see. Might have been the Sports Nut. Maybe it was Yard Barker or something. I forgot, one of those two. I didn't write the writer's name down. But you'll be happy to know that the Miami Dolphins did not draft one of the 10 worst quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. At least you're happy with that, right? Number 10 is Rick Meyer. Number 9, Joey Harrington, although we did have Harrington here in the Dolphins uniform. Number 8, David Carr. I got to tell you something, man. I don't believe David Carr was one of the 10 worst. I think David Carr fell into a horrible situation in Houston, and they absolutely just killed the kid. He got sacked so much. I think that he ended up shell-shocked because of it. His first couple of years were brutal, dude. He had terrible teams, and I kind of think that ruined his career. But I know he didn't have a good career, so he ends up being one of the bad quarterbacks. But I don't know if any of you feel the same way. I think David Carr, I'm not telling you he would have been a great quarterback or anything like that, but I think he, like Derek Carr, I think he would have been a decent quarterback if he had the better environment. I think that environment he had in Houston the first few years just freaking ruined him, dude. It was such a bad team, and he took such a beating. Number 7 is Steve DeBerg. We had him here as a backup quarterback. Remember was it the KC game, and he broke his chin and was bleeding and all that. I don't know if you guys remember that game. Blake Bortles was number 6. Kyle Bowler, number 5. Ravens drafted Kyle Bowler. I remember I was at the Senior Bowl, and Kyle Bowler was on his knees. This made news everywhere. He was on his knees at the 50-yard line in the Senior Bowl and at Lad Peebles, and he threw the ball through the goalpost. So he threw a 50-yarder on his knees. 60-yarder, actually, because you have to add the 10 yards of the end zone. He threw 60 yards off his knees. So it was something that he had great arm strength, dude. He had a cannon. Now, he didn't know where it was going, and that's what people figured out after. That's what Baltimore figured out after, that he had no accuracy. He was super talented. The Lord blessed him with a howitzer, but he just forget about it. He wasn't going to be able to be that guy. He was a bad quarterback, okay? David Carr, I would put an asterisk on that one, but hey, man, it is what it is. That's this guy's list. Blaine Gabbert, number 4, no doubt one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. The guy was afraid of pass rush. Like the first couple of years, the guy was constantly floating backwards with pass rush. Blaine Gabbert was terrible. Billy Joe Tolliver. I know he played with Atlanta and the San Diego Chargers. I want to say he was drafted by the Chargers and then it ended up in Atlanta. I think that's how it went. I'm not sure. But Billy Joe Tolliver was a terrible quarterback, number 3. Number 2, interesting. One of the 5 greatest arms in the history of the NFL. And he's the second worst quarterback. And I have no problem. He was a terrible quarterback. He was a choker. You could never count on him. But Jeff George easily has one of the 5 best arms I have ever seen in my life in the NFL. Like that, there's no discussion here. There has never been 5 people that can throw the ball with such ease and, I mean, brother, a cannon. Like, it was ridiculous, the gifts that Jeff George had. And the number 1 worst quarterback of all time was a guy that was an expert, allegedly, at taking drugs and alcohol and, just floating around the city of Indianapolis until he found a 70-year-old man he can assault. A guy that just loves his butts. The butt fumbler himself, Mark Sanchez. Dirty Sanchez. Think about that. Dirty Sanchez is the guy that went to 2 AFC championship games. That Jets team, I got to tell you, man, Jets fans, from that moment till now, they must be thinking, Jesus, if we had a quarterback, we would have won at least one of those titles. They got that team could have won a title easily if they had a quarterback. That was a good team, dude. And they were dominant on the offensive and defensive lines. They just didn't have the right quarterback. They didn't even have the right guy that could just be a facilitator and just don't get in the way. Just don't screw it up. Just complete some passes and we're good. We'll be fine. So there you go. 10 worst quarterbacks of all time. Rick Maher, Joey Harrington, David Carr, Steve DeBerg, Blake Bortles, Kyle Bowler, Blaine Gabbert, Billy Joe Tolliver. When I saw that name, I hadn't heard the name Billy Joe Tolliver in a while. I was like, wow, that guy sucks. Jeff George and Mark Sanchez. Yeah, no Ryan Leaf. And that's a good one. In fact, you know what, TJ Superman? I'd take out David Carr and I'd put Ryan Leaf. How about that? That's what I would do in that list. Thank you. You helped me out right there, TJ Superman. I appreciate you. Definitely Ryan Leaf, bro. He was taken number 1 overall. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Definitely. One of the worst. Mentally, he was toast, too. Top of all of that. David Carr was better than John Beck, Sage Rosenfels, Josh Rosen, and Cleo Lemon combined. Yes, I agree. I kind of feel bad that he's on that list. I don't think he's that bad. I really don't. I'm not saying he's good, but I would not put him as a top 10 worst quarterback of all time. I think his environment ruined him. I really do. I am steadfast on that one. I watched the kid. He wasn't a bad quarterback, man. It just sometimes you get dealt some bad cards. That happens to some of us at times, right? Carr was on a really bad football team. I agree with you. Talent, but nothing around him. Yeah, it was, oh my God, he got killed. Absolutely. Big O, sorry, but I am not on this Malik train. We will be drafting a QB next draft. Trust me, Kevin. I've been there with you. I'm not a Malik believer. I hope he turns out to be the guy. Don't get me wrong here. I hope he's a monster. But I'm with you. I didn't buy Malik. Yeah, and if Manning has a great year, I'm with you. You should be drafting Manning. Yeah. I don't like the Oregon kid. I can tell you that. I want nothing to do with Moore. No shot, dude. Nothing. 63,780 now. So Bitcoin is going slightly up. And the market is now up 653 points. That is sweet. The S&P is up 30. Don't get it, but hey. And SpaceX is back up to $115 after being at 108. Suckers. Yeah, really. Sanchez was worse than Jamarcus Russell. Idiotic list. Yeah, that's another good one. Jamarcus Russell was as useless as it gets. I like that one. Those two, Ryan Leaf and Russell is a good one. Achilles Smith is another bad one. Kerry Collins. No, man. Kerry Collins was not top 10 worst. No. Kerry Collins had some moments. You know what Kerry Collins' problem was, right? That was his problem. Kerry Collins wasn't that bad. Not top 10 worst. No. He was a little better than that, actually. He just, if I remember correctly, he might have had like a half decent season or something. Watch. I'll look up his numbers. If I remember correctly, Here we go. Kerry Collins. I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty sure he had like a year or two that were actually half decent. But yeah, Kerry Collins, I would not put him there at bottom. Dude, he threw for 4,000 yards one season, 16 games started. He threw 19 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Here we go. 2000, he threw 3,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Then the following year, 3,700 yards, 19 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Then 4,000 yards, like I told you, 19 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He wasn't like Mark Sanchez bad or some of those guys on that list, dude. Kerry Collins was all right. He had his moments. From what I heard, the drinky winky took over, and then his numbers started to decline, and he didn't have as good a career as he should have. He was in the league, dude. Let me just look at the top instead of counting. Let me see. It should say it there. No, it doesn't. But he was in the league. You could tell that he's not a top 10 worst. You know why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 seasons, bro. Yeah. I wouldn't put Kerry Collins there, my brother. That's not a guy that I would put in that moment. Chris Sims, yes, he's definitely, but was Chris Sims taken that high? I don't think he was taken as high as some of those guys. That's the thing. I think he was a lower pick than that. That's probably why, but he sucked. Yeah, he was terrible. Definitely terrible. Yes, Collins was in the Super Bowl. Yes, he did get to a Super Bowl. He wasn't a bad player, dude. I would never put him top 10. I saw him play. He wasn't that bad. You know, we know bad quarterbacks. We're Dolphin fans. We know bad. We know bad when we see it. I know what Kerry Collins' problem was, and that's kind of what a demon, unfortunately, upended his career. You know, shit happens, man. What are you going to do, folks? You know, we're not all perfect. That's why we're human beings. We have faults. You know. All right, we are out of here. We appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you all. Dolphins veterans are reporting. We will be talking to David Furones probably somewhere in a couple of hours. So in a few hours later on in the afternoon, early evening or something, it'll drop. So make sure you look out for it. We'll post it later on in the evening, and we'll talk all kinds of, because he's going to talk to some of the players and the coaches. So we'll get his thoughts after that instead. Much better interview for that. That way there's something to actually talk about. Anyway, we appreciate all of you out there. Thank you for supporting the show, making a donation, hitting the like button, visiting our amazing sponsors. We appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.